All right, guys, I'm going to show you guys how to make a kind of a rough version of a Among Us character. So what I've got here is a blank document that we're going to draw on. And so starting off, let's go ahead and look at the front plane. And let's go ahead and start a sketch. Okay, and we want to choose the front plane here. And what we're going to start off with is I'm just going to choose a center point rectangle. You may have to click the little drop down menu here. Center point rectangle. We're going to center this at the origin. So I'm going to click there first. Pull it out, and we'll say that. There we go. Okay, now we're going to add on to this. We're going to kind of make a rounded top here. So I'm going to come over here. You guys will probably see a circle right here. So click the drop-down menu and choose ellipse. Okay, so I'm going to click that. Okay, we choose the center spot first. So I'm going to click here, right at the middle of the top of our rectangle. I'm going to click there. Then my second click, I'm going to come over here to this right corner. Click. And I need a third click to kind of do like the height here. So I'm just going to kind of go up a little bit and click. Okay. So we got the top there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add sort of kind of like a leg shape down here. So I'm going to come over here. And this time we're going to use the corner rectangle. Okay, so I'm going to click corner rectangle. And we're going to start the left leg. So I'm going to start with this corner. So the very corner of this rectangle that we've already drawn. I'm going to click it once to lock in one corner. And we'll just click again over here. Okay, so there's a left leg. Same thing on the right side. Click on the corner. Bring it in. Click. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start adding in some dimensions here. So I'm going to come up here to the top, click the dimension tool. And we're going to start throwing some dimensions in. So what I'm going to do is we're going to choose, let's say this side first. I'm going to click it, bring it out. Let's set that to 2.5. Enter. Let's see. Let's do our ellipse next because it's kind of weird. I'm going to click this rounded ellipse. I'm going to pull it up to choose the width. So I'm going to click. We'll do 3. Okay, let's do the ellipse again. We're going to choose the height now. I'm going to click it. And instead of coming up, I'm going to go to the right. Click. I'm going to set this to be 2.5. Enter. Okay. Let's see. We've got that defined. Let's come down here to the leg. I'm going to click this little piece of segment right here. Bring it out. Click. I'm going to set it to 1 inch. Ooh. Okay. Let's do the width of this leg. I'm going to set this to be... Oops. Click. We're going to do 1.25. Okay. And we'll do the same thing on this side. So I'm going to set this to 1. Set this to 1.25. Okay. So we've got those all defined there. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and extrude this. Okay. So instead of clicking this green check mark, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm just going to go and click the extrude button directly. So I'm just going to click extrude. And you'll see it's already chosen the area for us of what we want to extrude. Okay. And there's a couple things we're going to change on here. We're going to first change this from being blind to being symmetric. Okay. So basically that's going to extrude it both ways. Okay. And I'm going to change this depth to 2.5. Okay. And we're going to click the check mark. Okay, so it doesn't really look like much right now. It looks maybe like a mailbox. I don't know. It's very chunky. So we're going to do a little bit of work to this to kind of smooth it out, add some curves. Okay, so what we're going to use to kind of round this off is this fillet tool. Okay, so it's up here at the top. I'm going to click it. Okay, and this lets us round some edges. So I'm going to change this radius first to 1.25. Okay, and we're going to click a couple different edges here. So I'm going to click sort of this edge right here on the left. Okay, you can see it starts to kind of preview what this is going to look like. Okay, then I'm going to come here to kind of like the middle. I'm going to click this edge, and this edge. Okay, and you can see now it's really starting to round off. Okay, let's turn it around. Woo, to the back. And it's going to be kind of like the same thing. I'm going to click this left side, and then this sort of upside down U in the middle. Okay, now you can see it's being rounded off. So let's click the green check mark. Okay, so you can see it's kind of, it's kind of starting to come together. Right now these legs are pointy. Okay, so we're actually going to use that fillet tool again to round this off a little more. So I'm going to click the fillet tool up here. Click. This time we're going to set this radius to 0.5. Okay, so I'm going to type in 0.5, press enter. Okay. Now in this part, it's a little tricky to choose this area that we're going to click. I'm going to call it like the inside of the legs. So I'm going to click like this area on the left, this area on the right. Okay, I'm going to flip it around. This area on the left, this area on the right. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead. So that's kind of like the inside of the legs there. And I'm going to flip it over, and we're going to click the bottom of the feet. Okay, and we'll click the check mark. Okay, so now it's kind of getting a little bit more rounded off here. Okay, so we've got kind of like the body made. What we need to add is like the face part. Okay, so what we're going to do is let's go ahead and just front. So we're looking at this straight on. Okay, and we're going to add a sketch here. So I'm going to click the sketch button, click the front plane, and what we're going to do is we're going to start off with a rectangle. So I'm going to come up here, and we're going to choose center point rectangle. And I'm going to draw it, make sure it doesn't lock on to like any of like this point in the middle or anything. We just want to make sure it's centered along this center line. So I'm just going to draw it up here. It's okay if it's kind of off there. We're going to move it. Okay, so there's my rectangle. We're going to go ahead and size this up. So I'm going to use the dimension tool. I'm going to make the height of this 1.25. Enter. And let's make the width 2. Enter. Okay. Now we're going to set where we want this location to be. So I'm going to click the center of the rectangle and this origin right here. Okay, so it should connect like that. Click. I'm going to set that to be 1.25 inches. Okay. So it's lining up a little better. Now, right now, it's just a rectangle. But on the actual characters, it seems like it's a little bit more rounded. So what we're going to use is this tool up here. It's called a sketch fillet. Okay, so I'm going to click it. And I'm going to just click each one of these corner points on this. Okay, you can see that the edges are being rounded off. Okay. And then what you're going to do is you'll see a dimension that automatically pops up. It should pop up kind of near the first corner you touched. Okay, and it's going to say R, and then it might say like 0.2 or some sort of number. We want to go ahead and just double click this number, and we're going to plug in 0.625. Okay, so 0.625, enter. Okay, and it should adjust that radius for you. Okay, so it should match up with what I have here. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and extrude this. So I'm going to click the extrude button over here on the top left. Okay, I'm going to rotate my view so you can see what's happening. Okay, and we're going to change this depth to be 1.75. Enter. Okay, so you can see it's going to kind of pop out a little bit there. Okay, now instead of saying add, what we're going to choose is we're going to choose this button that says new. So I'm going to click new. Okay, and I'm going to click the check mark. Okay, so by clicking that new button, it basically lets us change this color of the face here. Okay, so there's what we've got going on. Okay, now I think that usually this is in the game. I pictured this sort of face shield or face, whatever you want to call it, a little as a bit more rounded. So what we're going to do is we're going to round that off. So we're once again going to use this fillet tool. I'm going to click it. And we're going to choose this radius to be 0.625. Okay. And once I've got that entered in, I'm going to click just like this front side of the goggles here or whatever. I don't really know what this part of the face is. Okay. And you should see it rounds it off there for us. Okay, and I can just click the green check mark. Okay, so you can see it's kind of coming together here. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to rotate my view around a little bit, and we want to face the back side. So I'm going to click the back on the view cube. Okay, and the last piece that's really missing here is that like the backpack thing. Okay, so let's click sketch. We want to sketch on the front. Okay, again, let's go ahead and start with a rectangle. We're going to choose the center point rectangle here. So I'm going to click it. And again, we want it to be centered on the center line here. I'm going to just kind of draw a little high. Just that way it's out of the way for a second. It'll make our life a little easier. Okay, so there we got a rectangle. We're going to move it here in a second. Okay, and so I'm going to use this dimension tool now to start adding some dimensions in. So I'm going to click the dimension tool. Let's set this right side to be 2 inches. Let's set the width of this to be 2.25 inches. Okay, and let's set this distance between this center of our rectangle to the origin. Let's set that to be 0.5. Enter. Okay, so it should look something like that. Okay, now what we're going to do is let's go ahead and push the extrude button. Okay, now if I rotate my view around, you can see right now it's trying to extrude it towards the front. We really want it to go backwards towards the back. So to flip that around, you're going to click this little arrow button right here. Okay, that flips the direction. Okay, and let's go ahead and choose for our depth. Let's just choose 2 inches. Okay, so now I'm going to click the check mark. We got something like this. Okay, it looks a little boxy. Let's maybe soften that up a little bit to round it off. So I'm going to click, again, the button that we've been using throughout this whole thing, the fillet tool. Click it. And let's set this to be 0.25. Okay. And what you're going to do is we're basically just going to click all the different sides of this sort of cube looking thing here. So I'm going to click the top. Let's click this side, this side. I'm going to rotate it around. Let's click the bottom and this side. So I'm just clicking the different sides of that little block there. Okay. And we'll press check. Okay. So pretty much you've got an Among Us crewmate now. You want to kind of make this look, change the appearance of it. First, if you want to get rid of the planes, because they're kind of just like in the way here, if you come over here to the menu, We can hide all these. So I'm going to hide the origin, hide the top, hide the front, hide the right. So now we've just got this. Okay, right now it's like showing you all these edges in black. Okay, we can do that too. If we come over here to the right, there's all these different camera and render options. If I just click that drop down, right now it's on shaded view. Let's try shaded without edges. Okay, so that kind of gets rid of that, so now it just looks like this. Okay, now if we want to go a step further, we can even change the color of this. Okay, if we come down here to the bottom left, okay, we have 3 different parts here. Okay, this first one is the body. Second one's the sort of face glasses thing there. And the third is the backpack thing. So if you want to change the color of each one of those, we just right click it or 2-finger click it. Come up here to edit appearance. And you can choose from all these different colors. So like let's say, I don't know. I don't like the green. Let's say red. Okay, I can choose red for that. Let's say maybe the face part I want to be, edit appearance. Maybe just like a blue. Maybe the backpack is, I don't know, this kind of looks like a darker red, but it's really orange. Something like that. So you can choose whatever colors you want. And there we have a little model of an Among Us character.